Good Monday afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with your tropical update. We have an investigative area, Invest 95L, tropical wave out in the Atlantic, and we have a new named storm way out in the Pacific. That's Tropical Storm Elida. Today is Monday, August 10th, 2020. First off, let's break down exactly what an Invest 95L is, or what an investigative area is. Well, the Invest obviously stands for investigation, followed by either an L or an E. An L determines that it's in the Atlantic Basin. If there was an E after it, it would be in the Eastern Pacific Basin. And then it's followed by a number ranging from 90 to 99. No real significance in that, but it does recycle after it gets back to 99 and restarts at 90. All right, here's a list so far that we've been through. 9 names. The next one up is the J name, the 10th, and that would be Josephine. As what we've seen for the past season so far, we're ahead of schedule in terms of climatology. Typically, the 10th named storm in the Atlantic Basin happens on or around October 19th. That's over 2 months ahead of schedule if it does develop in the next day or two. Extremely unusual and extremely very active. As we've seen also with past named systems, it's likely going to be a record breaker. The earliest occurrence of a J named storm would be Jose, August 22nd, 2005. Again, another 2005 reference here with this season. So if we get the J name, Josephine, to develop here at least before August 22nd, may it be Invest 95L that develops into the J storm, or we still have 2 more weeks that it could, we would be breaking that record there of Jose in August 22nd. It's good to note where we are right now in the hurricane season. It is August 10th. We are 1 month out from the climatological peak of hurricane season, which happens around September 10th. That's when all factors in the atmosphere line up perfectly: warm ocean waters, warm or moist mid-levels, low wind shear, and the overall storm track is progressive for these storms to develop in the main development region of the Atlantic and move their way westwards towards land masses right around September 10th. And in case you missed it, last week there were a couple big updates from 2 of the biggest institutions that put out hurricane season outlooks, NOAA and then Colorado State. Both of them upped their forecasts, okay? NOAA is now calling for 19 to 25 named storms this season, 7 to 11 of which to be hurricanes, 3 to 6 major hurricanes. Colorado State upped theirs to 24 named systems, 12 hurricanes, and 5 majors. The average is half of that: 12 named, 6 hurricanes, 3 majors, and so far we've seen 9 named storms and 2 hurricanes. Also to note here, there's only 21 names on the list for each season. If we go past 21, we have to tap into the Greek alphabet. The only other time that has happened since we've been naming systems is 2005. So we'll see if we do continue to be very, very active out there. Right now in the Atlantic Basin, an overall look, plenty of tropical waves out there. There's no lack of convection or thunderstorm activity right near the intertropical convergence zone down in the south, and a few of these blips do start to send their way northwards and develop into tropical systems. And there's one wave that we're keeping an eye on, and this is right now coined as Invest 95L, and you can see the spin here in the infrared satellite imagery. Also, this is picking up on cloud height temperatures, cloud top temperatures, I should say. And the brighter the colors are, the colder the cloud tops, the more intense the thunderstorm activity is. Gives us a kind of feel for how healthy the system is. And right now, there's not a ton of convection here, but within the next 48 hours, Hurricane Center says, yeah, it's got about a 60% chance of developing into Josephine. 5 days out, same chances, 60%. So we'll see as it moves off towards the west if it does, in fact, get itself together and organize better. As we switch up the filter on here, still looking at infrared, but this is kind of a better picture to see the spin in the atmosphere. You can see the low levels starting to wrap around a little bit more with some convection off to the north and on the northwest sides there. And as it moves to the west, it's going to be encountering much warmer ocean waters. No lack of that out here in the main development region. We need over 80 degrees. We have that, and as it tracks even farther to the west, those waters do start to get a little bit warmer. The only thing that'll be a hindrance to the storm developing is, once again, as we've seen in multiple storms this season, the dry air. The mid-levels of the atmosphere in this part of the ocean are extremely dry. Relative humidity values are down to like 50%, and that is detrimental to a storm developing, especially if it pulls in some of this dry air that right now is lurking to the north of it into its circulation. It'll start to choke it off a bit. So this is the water vapor imagery here, the dry air depicted by the yellows and the oranges, and there's a lot of it just to the north of this system. And some models do paint it as pulling in some of that dry air, choking it off in the short term. So we'll see if that happens. Right now, how do the models see things going on forward here? Well, generally a track off towards the west, and then there's a little bit of a divergence here as we get way far out in time. We're talking 5-6 days out. Some tracking a little farther north, some keep it on that west-northwest track, potentially towards the northern portions of the Leeward Island. I will tell you the overall setup in the atmosphere here is a big dome of high pressure, the Azores high or the Bermuda high, and that's typically does favor a track more westerly rather than northwesterly. So we'll have to see how that plays out and how strong that high is. Let's jump over to the Pacific now, because that's getting a little more active too, although much less active in the Pacific this year than what we've seen in the Atlantic so far. This is Tropical Storm Elida, well on its way to becoming a hurricane here in the short term, with winds right now of 70 miles per hour. You can see it spinning there, looking pretty healthy. The good news with this system is it does look to stay offshore. A look at the Pacific names, we are only on number 5 here, and looking at climatology, aside from the Atlantic that's well ahead of schedule, the Pacific is lagging a little bit behind, about 3 weeks or so. Typically see the 5th named storm in the Pacific Basin on or around July 22nd, and today being August 10th, we're almost three weeks away from that. There it is, strengthening to a hurricane, a minor Category 1 with the winds of 90 miles per hour. The track staying safely offshore and away from land, which is some good news there. That's the latest today. We'll continue to keep you up to date on Invest 95L if in fact it does become Josephine in the next couple days, and we'll keep tabs on Elida as well. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.